Chabi!
Wa!
Chabi!
Wa!
Overotumbe!
Otumbe!
The title of our story today is The Cunning Tortoise. Nabe the tortoise was known all over the land as very cunning. Everyone was careful around him and treated him with suspicion.
"Surely I am the wisest man in the land,"
he boasted. While some saw this as an advantage, his fellow kingsmen mocked him and did not like to associate much with him. It happened that Nabe's mother-in-law fell sick with malaria. All the medicine men in the village were called up to help. They administered treatments with assortments of herbs and potions. They even made her take a steam bath with leaves picked from the sacred forest. She did not get any better, but rather became worse as the days went by. This caused a lot of sadness to Alia, Nabe's wife, who didn't want her mother to die. Nabe himself was a traditional healer. He tried his medicine on his mother-in-law and did not get the desired results. He knew she was dying. However, he was more concerned about the traditional rites he'll be required to carry out because they were expensive. He also worried about the cost of the funeral, since according to tradition, he, Nabe, as Ogodiada, the husband of the first daughter of the family, was mandated to bear the cost of the casket and provide the costume for Alia to lead the funeral procession. Nabe did not want any of this. He began to devise a plan to get away from his responsibilities. Finally, Nabe came up with a good excuse. He will travel far away during the period and will be away when his mother-in-law dies. He summoned his family members and his kinsmen.
"My dear kingsmen, I have summoned you here to inform you that I will be going on a long, extended trip to Okombo. It is time to prepare herbs for my trade."
Okombo was a town far away, and no one from the village had ever traveled there. Alia protested vehemently. "But Nabe, my husband, you know my mother is very sick and is even now on her deathbed. Why would you want to travel far away at this time?" Nabe hinted that he may find potent herbs to heal Alia's mother in Okombo. On hearing that, Alia allowed him to go. Nabe went on to give his listeners a condition.
"Listen, I must warn you that this is a very important mission and I do not want any distractions. Do not send for me unless there is an unusual occurrence, something that has never ever occurred before in this world."
Nabe stressed that if it had not happened before to someone else or happened before in the land, they should not contact him. Else, it will ruin the potency of the herbs and make his trip a wasted one. Nabe packed his bag and set off for Okombo. 2 days later, his mother-in-law died. His kinsmen pondered over whether to contact him or not. They remembered Nabe's instructions. Even though it was important for him to come home and bury his mother-in-law, he did say they should only contact him over something that had never happened before? Death was a normal occurrence in the village. So they deliberated on it, and afterwards they felt it was not necessary to contact him. They went ahead to put a levy on themselves and contributed money to bury Nabe's mother-in-law and performed all the burial rites in his absence. 2 weeks later, Nabe returned from his journey. He saw Alia looking very sad and inquired as to why she looked sorrowful, but she did not respond to his questions. She was clearly upset with him. He summoned his kinsmen to announce his return. Immediately they saw him, they informed him that his mother-in-law was dead. Nabe feigned anger.
Why did you not send for me? Why did you not bring me back to pay my last respects to my mother-in-law?
He asked.
Don't you know how close we were? Why did you people bury her without waiting for me? I expected you to know the tradition. I expected you to know the right thing to do.
Nabe suddenly started wailing and rolling on the floor. The villagers started consoling Nabe. Alia, his wife, joined in consoling him.
Nambiko, Biko, Bekwele, Biko. Please, my dear husband, stop crying. It's enough.
The villagers felt so sorry for Nabe that they offered to take him to the graveside so he could pay his last respects. They apologized, and many brought food to Nabe to console him. He accepted all the food and all the condolence gifts. When the villagers left, Nabe got up, cleaned his eyes, and started boasting about how smart he was and how he had again tricked his kinsmen. Alia, on the other hand, was not amused. She knew that Nabe had again used his cunning ways to shirk his responsibilities. She was hurt that Nabe made such a light issue of her mother's death. She accosted him and told him exactly how she felt. Nabe was filled with remorse and apologized, promising to be more caring and sensitive. You must stop playing tricks and deceiving people at once. Promise me, Alia demanded. Nabe promised. Do you think Nabe will live up to his promise?